The New York Jets went a surprising 10-6 last season. Can they repeat it this season? We're about to discuss it. You're watching the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment. Welcome to the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment. 32 teams, 32 days, and today we're talking about the New York Football Jets, Jets, Jets. Now, look, the Jets went 10-6 last season, and a lot of Jets fans have some high expectations, expecting now to finally make that leap into the playoffs. If only they would have been able to have beaten the Buffalo Bills week 17, or just beat the Buffalo Bills, period, last year, because they couldn't do it. They were swept by the Buffalo Bills. If they would have won one of those games, they would have been 11-5. They would have been in the playoffs, in the wild card round, and we would have seen what they would have done there, and really surpassing a lot of our expectations otherwise, because you didn't even have them going 10-6. You didn't. You know, if you were an optimist, you had them going 8-8, maybe 9-7, but no one had them winning more than 10 games. But they did it. So with that said, let's look how they're going to do this season. We're going to look at their team, look at their roster, look at their strengths, their weaknesses, look at their schedule, and then we're going to get the hell out of here. Their first strength, their defensive line. And what a defensive line it is. Muhammad Wilkerson, who you don't want to pay, okay, and I get it, because boy is he gonna be expensive, especially after Fletcher Cox just signed the deal that he just signed. Ooh, Muhammad Wilkerson's like, yeah, I want more than that nigga. But hey, you know what? I think he may deserve it, because Muhammad Wilkerson continues to be one of the more dominant defensive linemen in the league. He's been it since he came into the league. He's a great player. You also drafted Leonard Williams last year, and everyone knew Leonard Williams was going to be absolutely great. I can't believe he fell all the way down to number 6 pick overall. I did feel that the first 2 picks, the Bucks and the Titans, were right in not picking Leonard Williams, but from there, every team should have drafted Leonard Williams, because this guy was going to be an absolute stud, and he's proving to be that. And oh, by the way, you still have Sheldon Richardson, who's playing more of a dual role in terms of not just being on the defensive line, but also being on the edge a little bit more, standing up a little bit more than he's used to, but he's still been very good, so no questions there. And then you guys also signed Steve McLendon from the Pittsburgh Steelers to be your new nose tackle. I think there's a statistic out there that the Pittsburgh Steelers averaged 1.3 less yards per carry run defense with him on the field than without. You know, a little bit of BS there, because if he's on the field, there's probably also going to be less safeties and less corners on the field. But regardless, he's a very good run defender, okay? So not much is going to get past this defensive line. It is the first strength on this entire team. The second strength, to me, I'm going to go with the safeties. Okay, we have Calvin Pryor, who has a strong safety position. I feel like he's more of a free safety. He's really good in coverage, a guy that covers tight ends extremely well, a guy that can see leak out in a 2-man safety front, a leak out and anticipate passes to the boundaries and do a good job there covering that. Against the run, I see him miss some tackles, but he's very good. He's extremely good in coverage, though, and once you're extremely good in one area, he's okay in run defense. You know, he's going to be a good safety to me. He's definitely a good safety. He's just going into his 3rd year. I mean, this is upcoming his 3rd year. He can still improve. He can still get better. I need to see him be a little more technically sound in terms of tackling, especially against the run, but he's very good right now. And then on the other side, the other safety, right now you guys have Marcus Gilbert, who you signed over from the San Diego Chargers last season. You brought him in. He played really well for you. He's been a good safety. The safeties are a strength for me. Now, unfortunately, those are the only 2 strengths that I see, and I know you're going to argue the wide receivers, so let's talk about it. Okay, Brandon Marshall, the guy had 15 1,500 yards last year. No one had him pegged for that. Brandon Marshall optimists had him for 1,200, maybe 1,300 yards at most. He got 1,500. Big year from him. I expect him to be good again, get at least over 1,000. It's not going to be that high. Eric Decker, I actually expect him to increase. I see 1,100 to 1,200 this season, so that's fine. The problem is there's nothing beyond these guys. I get it. Quincy Enunwa came in and played okay, played in the slot a little bit, was a nice little wide receiver. But I mean, come on. Quincy Enunwa and then Devin Smith cannot stay healthy to save his life. He can't even practice. And this is a guy that came out of Ohio State very raw. A guy that needs to develop his route tree, needs to develop consistent hands. He hasn't been able to put in the practice time on the practice field. He hasn't improved at this point. He's not going to be able to make an impact. He's not going to stay healthy anyway, even if he comes back healthy. We're talking about, we're not talking about anybody when it comes to the wide receiver depth here. We have these two. We have Quincy Enunwa, who is okay, and then we have nothing. Okay, so because of that, I can't put the wide receivers as a strength for this football team. Some of you may argue the linebackers. I don't think they're very good. You have Lorenzo Malden, who was a rookie last year, and he played okay. But then the other outside linebacker position, you're talking about Jordan Jenkins probably stepping up, being that outside linebacker. And I'm actually a big Jordan Jenkins fan. He's going to be very good in terms of run defense. Not much will come past him. In terms of pass rush, not a great pass rusher. I don't think he's ever going to get over 10 sacks in a season, especially not his rookie season. So that's a bit of a question mark for me. And then inside, Aaron Henderson and David Harris, they're okay. But I really wanted to see Darren Lee get into this conversation. But it sounds like Darren Lee is just going to be using the nickel. And I mean, that's fine. I expected more from him, though. I thought he was a great pick. I gave you guys an A for picking him. But he's coming along a little slower than I thought he would, which is fine as long as at the end of the day, he's very good. And I still believe he will be because I just saw too much on the film. But right now, I just can't put the linebackers there. The offensive line, it could end up being a strength. Okay, you're bringing Ryan Clady in, a guy that didn't play last year, tore his ACL, didn't play the whole season. He was a good left tackle before that. We can see if he can be a good left tackle after that, after Debrickashaw Ferguson left your ass. It's okay. It's fine. His play was diminishing anyway, so who cares? We have James Carpenter on the left guard position. I think he's your best offensive lineman right now. I think he's very good. Nick Mangold at the center position, getting a little older, but he's still pretty good, so there's no problem there. Brian Winters, right guard, okay, not very good, but that's fine. One position can just be like that. And then Breno Giacomini on the right tackle position. The guy, we like him, right? If you've heard his story, if you've heard him talk about his upbringing, I'm sure you like him, but I don't think he's a very good right tackle. But unfortunately, you don't have time to really upgrade that position at this point. So I don't really love the right side, but I think the left side is good, and it could end up being a strength for this football team. Now, let's get into the weaknesses, and I actually have a couple. All right, and we're talking about number one, the quarterback position. Okay, look, Ryan Fitzpatrick, I get it. He played really well last year. I guess pretty well. I don't know if really well is I think that's a little bit of a stretch. 31 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Okay. But I thought he relied a little bit too much on his legs. I think he really made himself susceptible to injury. I don't like that. I think if he keeps running like the way he ran last year, he's going to probably get injured this year. And then we know he's Ryan Fitzpatrick. And even though the past 2 seasons he's actually been pretty good, I don't know why the Texans were so eager to let him go. He's going to revert back to his old ways. He's going to throw interceptions. He's going to be a little bit of a dope. And we know last season is probably the best Ryan Fitzpatrick we're ever going to get. We're probably not going to get that guy again. If you're ranking the 32 starting quarterbacks in this league, Ryan Fitzpatrick ranks, at least 25 or less. He's just not very good, and we get that. And then Geno Smith behind him, we don't care about him at this point. He keeps talking. He talks so so much in press conferences and locker room interviews. Shut up, okay? And stop talking about, oh, I want to be starting. Just shut up and play a role. I mean, just know your role and shut your mouth, please, Geno Smith. I don't know why this guy likes to talk so much. Bryce Petty stinks. And I always knew he was going to stink. And they're talking about releasing him good because he's not very good. He's never going to be very good. And then Christian Hackenberg, he has the benefit of being a rookie, but I keep hearing in training camp that he's throwing 15 yards over people's heads, and they're shocked by this. Why? Of course he's going to do this. Did you watch the film? Because that's what he does. So the quarterbacks really concern me. I think the tight ends, they're no idea. Okay, Jason Morrow, who really hasn't played significant time in his career, played his rookie season a little bit, looked okay, and then last year was injured, so we don't know anything there. And then behind him, there's nothing. So the tight end position, that's a huge question mark right now. I mean, maybe Jason Morrow will be the next coming of Rob Gronkowski, but we just don't know right now. And to me, that's a weakness. I think the cornerbacks aren't very good. Darrelle Revis, okay, he's good. Behind him, what? Buster Skrine. Okay, this guy was in the slot last year, started off strong, tapered off as the year went on, and now you're going to move him outside? I don't love that at all. Marcus Williams, I actually think he's better than Buster Skrine right now. I think he needs to be on the outside. Buster Skrine stay in the slot where he's not very good to begin with, but hey, at least he's staying somewhere. So Marcus Williams is okay, but then D. Milliner, who you've been begging D. Milliner to be a good player for you for years, and he's been saying, nah, I'm good. So we can't trust him. Dexter McDougal, these guys, they don't do anything. They don't impress me, so I don't believe the depth is here beyond Darrelle Revis. And Revis is getting a little old, getting a little brittle. If he goes down, there goes the cornerback position, and that really, really concerns me. I forgot to talk about the running backs. This could actually potentially be a strength. So Matt Forte, you signed him in from the Chicago Bears, but it sounds like it's probably going to be like a 60-40 or maybe even 50-50 split between Matt Forte and Bilal Powell. And I don't know how I feel about that. I think Matt Forte still deserves a majority of the snaps at this point, but with that said, Bilal Powell, he has been looking pretty good lately. I thought he looked pretty good last season. I think he's getting better as he ages, as he gets older. So that's nice to see. So we'll see. I mean, that running back 10, I think is going to be, actually may end up being pretty good, but I couldn't quite put it in the strength category just yet. So with that said, let's look at the schedule. And then here's my biggest thing when it comes to the New York Jets this upcoming season. When you look at last season, okay, the Jets had the privilege of going up against the AFC South and the NFC East, the two worst divisions in the NFL last season. You're not going to have that privilege this year. I mean, you're talking about going up against harder divisions than you did last season. Last season against the AFC South, you went 3-1, and then against the NFC East, you went 3-1. So you did have some losses there, and then you're in the AFC East. I mean, those are the three easiest divisions you can face, one of which you're in, okay? So I think last year the win-loss was a little bit inflated, but with that said, I still think you're a good team, and let's get into the schedule. So first of all, you guys go up against the AFC North. Okay, this is much harder than the AFC South y'all were facing last year. You guys host the Cincinnati Bengals week 1, and that's very favorable, by the way. I actually have you guys winning this game. You guys go to Pittsburgh. I don't see a chance in hell. You guys go to Cleveland. Be careful, but I have you guys winning this one, but just be careful. Be careful. And then you guys should be able to host Baltimore in week 7. And you guys should win that one. So I have you guys going 3-1 yet again. But there are some difficulties here. Beating Cincinnati won't be easy. Beating Cleveland at Cleveland won't be easy. Beating Baltimore will not be easy. So even though I have you guys going 3-1, there's a lot of uncertainty involved with that. Then you guys go up against the NFC West. This includes hosting Seattle in week 4. This includes going to Arizona in week 6, hosting the LA Rams in week 10, and going to San Francisco in week 14. So hosting Seattle. Now, you guys could certainly win this one, but I don't see it. I have you guys losing that one. You guys go to Arizona. I don't see a chance in hell. You guys host the LA Rams. You guys should definitely win this one. You guys go to San Francisco. Again, be careful. Be really, really careful here, but I have you guys winning that one. Okay, so you guys go, I think, 2-2 here. Okay, fine. Then you guys are once again in the AFC East. Okay, I see 3-3. I see splits with every single team. Now, there's some uncertainty involved with that. Maybe the Patriots end up sweeping you, but then the Bills end up losing both games to you, or maybe the Dolphins for some reason sweep you, or something like that. But I see 3-3. I think it's 3-3 throughout. A lot of people don't have much faith in the Dolphins this season. Neither do I, but I think they're going to win their fair share of games, including their games in the division. I think they're going to give you trouble. I think their rosters are very similar. So I really do feel that it's 3-3 in the AFC East, and then you guys go up against the second place teams on the other divisions in the AFC South and in the AFC West. So that would be the Indianapolis Colts, whom you host in week 13, and that would be the Kansas City Chiefs, who you visit in week 3. Now, this is going to be tough. You guys beat the Colts last season. I'm not sure if there's going to be a repeat. And then you guys, as I said, go to Kansas City. I think that's a loss, definitely. So I actually have you guys losing both of these. But it could certainly go either way. It could go, you guys could absolutely sweep both of these teams or lose to both of them or split here. But I ended up going with losing both of them. That means I have you guys going 8-8. That's my prediction. I'm pretty confident with that one. It's going to be close, but I feel pretty sure about that. It depends, yet again, how will Ryan Fitzpatrick look this upcoming season, okay? If he looks good, if he looks like the way he did last year, I think best case scenario, you can repeat last year's performance and go 10-6 and then once again be entrenched in that wild card race. The worst case scenario, he stinks and you have a big problem. But even with that, I can't see it being worse than 7-9. My prediction is 8-8. I think that's a fair, honest prediction. You guys went 10-6 last year with an easy schedule. The schedule got harder. You lost Chris Ivory. You're going to get more games from your defensive linemen. And also you had some nice draft picks, but you lost Chris Ivory, you lost DeBrickashaw Ferguson. I got to go down 2 wins, though. 8-8, that's decent. Okay, I think that's a decent win. And then, hey, next year you get your quarterback, you get rolling, you're still a young football team. Y'all should be back in the playoff race next year, and then maybe even in the playoffs, but you got to find that quarterback before you get any confidence from me. So there you go. What do you think about the upcoming New York Jets season? Comment down below, and until next time, this has been the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. Peace.